Hello again. Well then, as I spoke about on a previous video, my bandsaw decided to break, and this one is the Metabo BAS 317 Precision. It's a 12-inch bandsaw. It's quite nice for a small workshop. It does the job. However, what happened, unfortunately, was one of these bearings decided to go, so it wouldn't turn. In turn, that shredded the belt. So I've had to get a new belt. Got that one for about £6, £7, and I had to get some more bearings. So got the new bearings pressed into the wheel, both sides, and now I'm going to try and fit it in here. As you can see, we've got the main drive wheel with the two pulley wheels on. We've got the tension wheel, and this is the spindle for the 12-inch wheel with the new bearings on. Now it's going to be a bit of a tight fit. It was quite difficult to get them off, to be fair. What I had to do, because I didn't have a bearing puller the correct size, I had to make one, which was a bit random, to be fair. I've not actually had to do that before. So all I did was create two bits of wood, one to go here and one to go there, and I put two bolts through. I'll tell you what would be easier. I'll tell you what, well, let's go and find it and I'll show you what it is. Okay, so this is how the wheel was mounted inside the bandsaw. All I did was create a piece of wood that I could put behind with a nice fat bolt on it. Another piece with a nice fat bolt on it as well. And then what I did, another piece of wood here with the three holes. The two to line up with the bolts on either side, and the one in the middle I could screw down to push the spindle out to the middle, and this would pull the wheel off evenly so as not to damage the wheel, because the last thing I wanted to do was crack this thing, because obviously because the way it's created, it's quite brittle. So had I tried to pull it at a bit of an angle, it probably would have snapped, and that's going to cost me a lot more than a belt and a pair of bearings. Right, the first thing I did was get rid of all the sawdust in around these areas in the back here, all around these different working parts. I want everything as clean as possible in there, and also surprising how much of this dust builds up in time. So what I'm going to do now, just finally, last little bit, make sure this spindle's nice and clean, bit of rag. I'm also going to put a tiny little bit of that lube on that I'm going to use later for the lube that I'm going to put on later on the bearings. Hopefully this will mean everything is going to come on nice and smoothly. Also make sure that little groove at the end here, this is where a little circlip comes in, and it will lock the wheel in place. Right, now I'm just going to go and prep the wheel. Now what I'm going to do now then is I'm just going to lubricate the bearings and the inside, so when I try to put it onto the spindle it should be as smooth as possible. Stuff I'm using is a chain lube, just because it's good for sticking on things which spin, and also I've got some. Other side as well, make sure I don't get any where the drive bolt is going to be, because obviously you want as much friction there as possible. Okay, that should be enough of that. Right, that's the wheel prepped. Now let's see how difficult this should be to go on. It was quite difficult to get off. I'm hoping that it's actually going to go on considerably easier. Almost made the fatal mistake. Anyone spot it? Let's put the belt on first. Let's get the belt in there, out the way. Ready for the next part. Now then, let's see if you slide on. It's looking good. Everything's going on nicely. Last little bit is going to be a bit stiff. Nope, it's just the belt. Okay, let's get this belt out of the way then. I haven't got much space to work with, I'm afraid, so it's quite difficult. Try and show you what I'm doing at the same time as doing it. Just, you know, that tension, the tension pulley that I showed you earlier, which is operated by this part here, I've obviously loosened that off as much as possible to make my life that little bit easier. that's on, and that should allow me to push that in just a little bit more. Okay, I'm just going to have to move the camera a little bit because I don't want to knock that over when I'm pushing this in. Okay, so after having a little look around and what was going on, it wasn't that it was stiff or anything like that. I hadn't actually pressed this bearing in quite enough of the way. So what I was trying to do, I was trying to push it into something which wasn't going to give anyway. So all I did was get a small piece of wood, where is it? Like this, placed it on because it's just the right size. Put a nice big clamp through it and slowly eased it into position, and that's worked a treat. Okay, so now we're going to try and put it back on again, and this one with a bit more luck. Okay, so I've got the belt on before. Make sure I've got the pulley wheels on the inside. Belts on, over and all the way through. Now you can see that bit sticking out the middle, and I can get to that line where the circlip goes in. Okay, right then, have a look in here. Awesome. Okay, now I'm going to try and get that little circlip part in, which is going to be fun. There may be some bad language coming up. Okay, so I've got my little circlip. I kept it safe all this time, and that's what it looks like. It's got quite a lot of tension. Now, this is the problem when it comes to not having all the tools that you want. So I want a circlip there. Now, ideally, you want something like these. Fantastic things. You squeeze them, they open. You've got the little nodules part which fit into the circlips. Unfortunately, these ones are absolutely massive and don't fit in little holes here, so I'm not going to get any good traction. These ones, they close when you squeeze them. However, little pins fit. So what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to try to do some manipulation with my hands to actually squeeze this open and put it across. Hopefully it'll work. If not, well, I'm sure there'll be a little bit of bad language. I might have to bleep that out. Or I'm going to have to file these ones down a little bit to make the end small enough to fit in these, but that is not something I'd like to do. If I can avoid that, that'd be good. That'd be for the best. Right, let's see what happens. Okay, so I've got my little pliers, got my circlip. I'm going to try and just pop these onto its little holes. There we are. Now I'm going to have to try and open these up without this thing flying off anywhere. So here goes. I don't believe it. I've done it first on. I'm absolutely shocked. The difficulty I had of getting this thing off, it was an absolute epic. Oh, I'm so chuffed with that. Yeah, I should video stuff again. Maybe I'm on my A game. Right, now to make sure I've got the belt on. So I'm going to go for the small drive wheel, large wheel on the main 12-inch wheel. And now to create tension. What this is doing now is moving that, 2 seconds, let me just take this off so you can see. As I'm turning this now, you can see it's moving it across. It's going to create tension across the belt. Okay, and what we don't want is to have so much tension that it actually creates drag on the motor, but what we want to make sure is we've got enough friction on the main wheel to actually obviously spin the blade. Okay, I've got that tensioned up, and the play in the actual, 2 seconds, I'll get you close again. The play in here, I've got to about 10 mil, and that's roughly about what we need. Okay, now fitting in the dust straight. It's going to be a bit of a tight fit because the way my workshop's configured, but it should just do it. There we are. And all the way back. Happy days. Make sure this thing is in place. Okay, so that'll place the centre when you shut it, along with this top part here, to make sure that we're all nice and safe. Right, let's go and see if that starts up. Okay. Happy days. And that works a treat. Right then, let's go and get a blade on. Right, obviously, before we took all this stuff off, we need to take the blade off. Now we need to put the blade back on. Okay, so on the BAS 317, you have to take off the fence guide and the fence itself in order to remove the blade. Okay, the blade we're going to put on now is a 3/8 4 TPI, so that basically means the depth of the blade is 3/8 of an inch, and the 4 TPI means it's got 4 teeth per inch, in case you were ever wondering what that actually meant. When you get these, if you're getting one new, just be careful when you unwrap them, okay? They have a tendency to fold them into 4 in that complicated tent folding sort of style. So if you're not careful, what happens is you go to open it and then it flicks open with a great degree of speed and tries to take your face off. So please be careful. Right then. When put it on, make sure you got it the correct way. Remember, the teeth will be facing out towards you, and also the rake is going to be going down, okay? As always, when doing this sort of stuff with power tools, make sure that you've switched the power off to them. I'm just going to put that on there. Obviously the wheel tension's been taken off here, so that gives me the space that I require to actually put this thing on. Right, I've got it on the top part. What I'm going to do now is just move the camera down so you can see what's going in the bottom. Right, as you can see underneath here now, we've got the blade going down the slot on the side. We need to get it round the wheel itself. Not a problem. And this part here, this is why I brought the camera down, it actually stops the blade from coming out. If it comes off the wheel, if they're badly balanced, or you push it off for some reason, it won't come back down off the slot and try to take your fingers off. Okay, this actually prevents that from happening. So obviously, very important bit, make sure you use it. Okay. And you see here, we've got the back wheel. This makes sure that the blade doesn't get pushed off the opposite way. Whilst I'm here, I'm just going to get a little bit of lubricant on there. Make sure that spins nice and freely. And once it's all in place, I'm now going to tension up the half and top. Right then, now I've got the blade on. Need to make sure I've got the tension on. That gets it all locked off in place. And I'm going to check the tension on the actual blade itself. Okay, so how's it looking? Going around, how's it looking on the wheel? On the wheel, it's looking... It's not looking too bad. I'm turning it, I'm looking to see if the actual blade is moving either fully forwards or fully to the rear. It's staying in the one spot. I'm happy with that. Next thing I'm going to check is the guide itself. Okay. Right. As you can see, there's the guide here, with the setting screws either side to make sure that the blade runs smoothly between the runners. Okay, now this is looking a bit far back. 2 seconds, let me see if I can zoom in. There, you can see there that the blade isn't actually in between the runners. That's because when I put the guide back on, I've put it back too far. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to loosen the guide off. Loosen off the runners, and I'm going to move it slightly forward to this either side, and now I can lock it back off in place about 2/3 of the way into the blade. Dial down the runner so it's just touching, and then lock them off with the locking screws. Happy days. Get a little bit of tension. Right then, let's get this guide on. You can see we've got the 4 sort of wing nut screws going on there. I'm going to put the ruler back on first. And make sure that we're happy with how that's lined up. Fence back on. I'm going to do now is make sure that my red line on the fence marries up with the 0 mark when it's touching the blade. Okay, that's looking fairly good there. Have a little look on the blade. Yep, happy with that. Now let's cut something.